Hello, good day to you. This is Brother Dayo. Today I have this topic that I intend to discuss my thoughts on it for the benefit of whoever finds the grace to listen to me. The topic says we have to be one with nature. And I wonder, really? Christians too? Here I go. The saying, you have to be one with nature, is a cliche that has begun to gain grounds in the society, if not already popular. I have even heard people that claim to be Christians saying this statement confidently in the open. The statement was unacceptable to me from the very first time I heard it. The reason is, I knew that when people say nature, in quotes, usually they mean things like the forests, the mountains, the rivers, and the like on one hand, and the creative animating forces of life, more like the spirituality of life, on another hand. And I instinctively knew that the advocates of being one with nature wouldn't mean that men should connect their bodies to the physical leaves and trunks of trees, rocks of mountains, or drops of water. They surely would mean men should connect to the spirituality of those features. From the folk tales we've been told since childhood, I know that features like forests and bodies of water harbor evil spirits. Also, from such passage of the Bible as 1 Kings chapter 20, verse 23, which says, and I read, "And the servants of the king of Syria said unto him, Their gods are gods of the hills, therefore they were stronger than we. But let us fight against them in the plain, and surely we shall be stronger than they." End of quote. From this passage, it is clear that men know evil spirits, whom they call gods, inhabit hills and mountains. And so from the foregoing, to me, surely it is confirmed that the advocates of oneness with nature mean that man should connect himself to evil spirits. Now, the important matter of this discourse is that many must be deceived into believing that the advocates of oneness with nature are only out to help mankind achieve health and peace by just appreciating the beauty and tranquility of nature. So much so that some that are supposed to be Christians fell for it. I came across an article published online by one Corey Miller. It was titled "The Connection Between Spirituality and Nature." Parts of the article goes something like this, and I quote, "Being in nature inherently brings us to the present. When surrounded by the tranquility of nature, our busy minds tend to quiet down. We become more mindful of the beauty around us. The sights, sounds, and smells of nature evoke our senses. Simply taking a quiet walk through the woods or sitting by a lake can induce a profound sense of inner peace." End of quote. Another part of the piece goes thus: "Nature provides ideal spaces for quiet contemplation. the solitude of a forest trail or seaside cliff allows our anxieties and thoughts to melt away. Observing the steady rhythm of waves or listening to birdsong facilitates a meditative state. Time spent quietly reflecting in nature can bring newfound wisdom and clarity. End of quotes. Now, reading such writings as these that treats the subject of oneness with nature on the surface and make it seem quite beneficial can be really enticing. Even though Corey Miller himself mentioned that the activities he described can be profoundly spiritual, in other parts of his article, he yet did not make the real intention of his advocacy known to his reader. Reading his article, many unsuspecting minds would likely conclude that oneness with nature is a good recreation for rejuvenating the soul. But fortunately, there are other writers who are more forthright about the real intent of the encouragement to be one with nature. There is this Shelly whom in her online article titled "The Connection Between Spirituality and Nature" summarizes her thoughts with the following, I quote, "Nature and spirituality go hand in hand and are a perfect example of mutual beneficial symbiosis. You can't have one without the other, and both parts lead to the other." End of quote. This quote surely means the goal of oneness with nature is spirituality. So then, the question should be, what is spirituality? Isn't it? Right. I found an online group that called itself ReachOut, which claims to want to help young people feel better. The group says spirituality relates to the process of developing beliefs around the meaning of life and connection with others without any set spiritual values. Please note the phrase connection with others. On the surface, one could take this phrase to mean the making of friends with other people. But wait, Herbert Schroeder, a research social scientist working at a forest experiment station, Chicago, in the US, has this to say about the other, in quotes, that we're talking about. And I quote, "These instinctive patterns, which are called archetypes, guide and give meaning to our interactions with other people and the world. They are the other, in quotes, that people encounter in spiritual experiences." End of quote. Let me explain. Herbert Schroeder means the inbuilt patterns or images or imaginations, which psychologists call archetypes, are the spirit beings that people connect with in spiritual encounters, or spirituality if you like. Let me quote a section of his article verbatim for clarity. I quote, "Jungian psychologists often turn to mythology and literature for symbolic portrayals of the archetypes that are active in the collective psyche of a culture. One approach to identifying the spiritual significance of nature, therefore, might involve an examination of gods and goddesses who have been associated with various aspects of nature. In the Greek tradition, this would include Demeter, the goddess of vegetation, fertility, and agriculture; Pan, the rustic deity of woods and fields, and many others." End of quote. I hope you can now see that the other, in quotes, to whom man is being encouraged to connect in spirituality, which is said to be different from religion and goes hand in hand with nature, are the gods and goddesses of the local culture that are set in the imagination of the local people, known to nature worshippers as nature spirits, but known to Christianity as devils or demons. More so, I found that points listed in the procedures for a spiritual connection with nature go something like: embrace humbly whatever nature spirits fill your mind with, do not argue, communicate with them. Really? What direct countering of the commandments of scriptures? In both Old and New Testaments, man is commanded to have nothing doing with devils. No wonder most people that claim to be spiritual in the sense of consciously operating their senses in the spiritual realms find it hard to accept true Christianity. And those that do struggle with true Christian spirituality, presenting strange inspirations as Christian truth and strange acts and experiences as from the Holy Spirit. Surely, from the foregoing, it is obvious that any Christian that goes to woods, forests, mountains, and beaches for spiritual retreats in quotes without a functional and very effective gift of discernment goes to fellowship with devils unknowingly. What do you think? Have you fallen into this trap of the enemy of man and God? Does this message make you see some light? Or you have just been considering accepting this lie, and this message is helpful to guide you away from the trap? Or do you disagree with my views and have questions for me? Let me know your take on this message in the comment section. Once again, this is Brother Dio. Thanks for your time. Mercy and grace to you.